Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are all doing well. So Raphael Varane will leave Manchester United at the end of this season. Yes, and Manchester United could see a complete exodus of players as there are so many links to so many players leaving Manchester United. But Raphael Varane has confirmed his exit. His contract expires at the end of the season. It will not be renewed and he will leave the club. Now, I, like many other Manchester United fans, if I was going to see a cull of players at the club, Raphael Varane wouldn't be the first one. But we've got to understand that with his contract expiring, a decision has to be made sooner rather than later. And whilst we can look back fondly at that partnership between Lisandro Martinez and Raphael Varane, was it for about 4 or 5 months last season where they're absolutely excellent? We got to see them together a few more times after that, but not consistently enough. And Manchester United have had so many injuries to players. Raphael Varane's been one that's been injured a lot of the time as well. He's someone that's complained about the rigours of modern day football and the amount of games that have been playing, and clearly he's probably taken a toll on his body. And we've seen that with the amount of time he's been out. You like to think if Lisandro Martinez and Raphael Varane were available for the majority of this season, our fortunes wouldn't be looking as bad as they are. Look, it wouldn't resolve everything. We've got injuries all over the place. Just look at left back, just look at central midfield. We've obviously got other issues elsewhere, but you'd think Manchester United would be faring a little bit better than they are doing at this moment in time if Varane and Martinez were available. I think it was Varane and Martinez who basically won David De Gea the Golden Glove last season. I thought those two players in front of him were absolutely fantastic. Obviously, we'd had that moment against Newcastle in the cup final, which saw him lift the trophy for the club. And there was the moment, I think, when we scored the late winner against Manchester City at Old Trafford, where him and Casemiro just embraced the fans in that corner of the pitch by where the tunnel is. It was clear he loved playing for Manchester United. It just didn't really go to plan for the whole club while he was here. And it's a shame, really, because absolutely phenomenal player, just made of Weetabix in the last couple of years. And look, he's not the only one at Manchester United. Maybe there's a few more issues there when you look at the medical department, the medical team, maybe the training. Is that causing a lot of the injuries that we're seeing, because there's so many players that are being injured? But yes, Raphael Varane will leave Manchester United when his contract expires this summer. And as I said, it could see an exodus of players, and we'll discuss that, just how many more players could be leaving United. Now, sometimes it's a bit unrealistic. I did it with Rory and Boovy the other day. We went through the Manchester United team list, and you find yourself saying you'd only keep a handful of them. Obviously, we're not going to get rid of 10, 15, 20 players overnight. That's just not going to happen. And there's going to be a few that are borderline and maybe stick around for a little bit longer than maybe some of us would expect to. But nevertheless, we're going to see a couple of players, and we'll just go through them. But Raphael Varane left, and he left a statement as well, classy as ever, saying, "To you guys as supporters of Manchester United, it's been an amazing few years to play for this special club and wearing the shirt. The first time I went to Old Trafford as a Man United player was insane. The atmosphere was amazing. I fell in love with the club, with the fans. You have to play for Manchester United to understand what that represents. For my kids, it's home here. It's going to be a special place for me for life. When the fans go to Wembley, it's something they will remember for life. To share that moment with them was absolutely amazing. Despite the fact we had a difficult season, I'm very positive for the future. The new owners are coming with a clear plan and great strategy. I'll see you at Old Trafford to say goodbye for the last game of the season, and it's going to be very emotional." That was a statement that Raphael Varane had made. And you do think back to that game against Leeds at Old Trafford when we won and we announced him as a player and he came out onto the pitch, the reception that he got, it felt like something was happening at Manchester United. And it's a shame. He does allude to the fact that the new owners are in place and, they're changing stuff. I say the new owners, the new co-owners are in place and they're changing stuff and possibly looking to a brighter future for Manchester United. But, we've got to wait for those changes to take place. And Raphael Varane is someone that could not do that. I wouldn't mind seeing him still. I think he could still play his trade in Europe, maybe in somewhere like Italy, or go back to Spain, maybe even. Could he end up at PSG and go into France and play in there for his final few years out? Or obviously it's the big lucrative carrot of going to Saudi Arabia and earning many mega bucks, which for someone like him who's won, countless Champions Leagues and everything he could win as a player, the World Cup and all that, you wouldn't blame him if he did go and cash in on the incredible future and incredible stature of a player he is. But disappointing to see him leave Manchester United in that state. And as I was saying, let's just think about the amount of players that could leave this club when you're thinking about it properly. You look at the goalies. I don't think Onana or Altay Bayindir are particular, players that you'd suggest would probably leave Manchester United this summer. I think Onana's got better as the season's gone on. I think we've kind of let him down with what's going on in front of him. By India, we haven't really. Maybe he leaves and he's a number one somewhere else, but we haven't really seen much of him. So you wouldn't be saying get him out of the club. Do you know what I mean? So you look at the goalkeeper situation. Maybe you could bring another one in, but in terms of outs, probably not. Then the defensive situation, Varane's confirmed as leaving. You'd keep Lisandro Martinez, hoping he can keep himself fit for a season, because then you've got a fantastic player there. Then you've got Lindelof, he could go. Maguire, you're looking to get rid of him. Willy Kambala will probably stick around. Johnny Evans could be the end of his career. Don't know if he sticks around as the 5th, 6th choice he was supposed to have been this season. But you're looking at that, and a whole host of those players could be leaving Manchester United. You look at left back. We got Malacia and Luke Shaw have just been consistently injured. What do we do there? Do we just, get rid and look to bring in some fresh blood? Can we do that with 2 players that have been injured? Would anyone be looking to take them? You look at right back. Again, you'd expect one of Dalot or Wan-Bissaka, probably not Dalot because I think he's been pretty good this season, to leave, probably Wan-Bissaka. So you're already looking at Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Evans, Malacia or Shaw. Like all of those players, you wouldn't guarantee they would be here next season. Then you go to the midfield. Casemiro's looking like he's destined for Saudi Arabia. Christian Eriksen needs to move on from that. Scott McTominay probably need to do the same as well. So you're looking at midfielders that you'd keep. You go Kobbie Mainoo, Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes. And there's even talk about Bruno Fernandes recently, which I don't agree with. I'd keep Bruno Fernandes personally. But there's talk about him potentially looking at his future at the end of the season. So again, outside of Kobbie Mainoo, Mason Mount, you probably wouldn't guarantee any player to be. I'd keep Bruno Fernandes as well. But then the other 3 have got to go. Then you look at the forward players that Manchester United have got. You'd keep Rasmus Højlund. Martial's leaving. We need someone else up there. So you got to bring in a player there. At right wing, I'd like to think we'd get rid of Anthony, but that's not guaranteed. Sancho's probably going to end up leaving Manchester United as well. So again, you're looking at 2 players that probably definitely going to leave. I'd keep Amad Diallo, but he's hardly been picked regularly. What's going to happen there? Then there's talk about Rashford's future. Look, I'd keep Marcus Rashford. People know my opinion on him. I don't think he's been great this season and think he deserves criticism for that. But I think there's a very good player there. Garnacho as well, the same. You'd keep him. Keep them 2 to fight for the left side. We've got to restructure your whole right side and get a striker up top. Plus there's a couple, Martial's going to leave. You'd think Anthony, Sancho, 3 more players that could leave. So the amount of players that could leave Manchester United, you'd assume Raphael Varane isn't the first one, or the last one, to be leaving the club. There was going to be a whole host of them. And then it's how do we bring players in? How many do we bring in? How many can we bring in? What's the finances looking like? And which players will be promoted from the academy. So an interesting summer ahead for Man United. And the new boys, Ineos, are going to have to get to work. Varane giving a little bit of positivity with the talk about them, but they've got to prove it. Anyway, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. It's been a hectic few weeks and months in my life, and this channel has suffered for it. I kind of keep promising on my back and then not delivering on it. I'm not going to make any promises now, but I'm going to get the content regular, especially with a big summer coming up. So keep it locked, and I'll see you soon.